Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Little Shop of Nerds. I'm Julia,
Mike,
and last week's hint was geisha.
meaning we're going to be talking about the second season of Demon Slayer, known as the Entertainment District. Now, this gets a little hairy, fellas.
It was actually fairly, I want to say dark,
Yes.
because if you guys don't know, season 2 takes place in Yoshiwara, which is actually known as the Red Light District, where they would have certain entertainment for people to go and indulge in. Which, yes, Yoshiwara is a real place in Japan. And yes, it was a place for people to go to the Red Light District. Let me pull up what. I am taking this straight from Wikipedia. So it says Yoshiwara was a famous Yukaku red light district in Edo, present-day Tokyo, Japan. Established in 1617, Yoshiwara was one of 3 licensed and well-known red light districts created during the 17th century by the Tokugawa shogunate, alongside Shimbara in Kyoto in 1640 and Shimachi in Osaka. So, that's actually how the geisha came to that's what gave rise to the creation of geisha, basically. So then the upper class concubines that you saw that you would see in the red light district kind of just started to just disappear. And then we get the geisha that we have today. So, this takes place, I think, 4 months after Mugen Train.
Yes, and it opens, and part of I think the first episode's about 40 to 50 minutes long?
Something like that, yeah.
And I think it opens, can't remember, does it open with Tanjiro in the hospital, or was it Muzan?
No, I think it might have opened with them still on the battlefield, and they were getting rescued because, Rengoku had just died.
Yeah, and I remember then Muzan Jackson, by the way. Ow!
Yeah, Muzan, was, I think, a little upset.
Pissed off, yes.
Because one of his faithful demons had been killed. But I think he was also happy because Ahashira had been taken down. My little Rengoku fangirl heart cannot take all of the Rengoku-ness that I have been seeing recently with the new season coming out and everything like that. Because his death, Rengoku's death, seemed to have affected Tanjiro quite a bit.
It did.
It really affected him.
It really did. Then he keeps saying he wants to train harder. They know him, Noisuke, and Zenitsu. They all go their separate ways to do their hunting. And they come back seeing Tengen, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Well, no, before we get to that, Tanjiro did go see Rengoku's father and little brother.
Yes, because during the Mugen train, Tanjiro would ask Rengoku about a certain, was it fire dance?
Yeah,
like a breathing.
Hino Mina Kagura or something. I'm gonna look that up, but you keep going.
Well, he asked him, and he said he never heard of it. But he also talked about fire breathing and a thing called sun breathing. Since Rengoku knows it, he was going to teach Tanjiro how to do it. But here's the thing: he died, and Tanjiro wanted to go pay his respects to his father and his brothers, his family. When he gets there, his Rengoku's dad is drunk as a skunk by now, and you know, I would say abusing it. I wouldn't say abusing.
Hey, I wouldn't. He's not really abusing his little brother. He's just not. His heart just doesn't seem to be
In it.
to really take care of him. So he does pass on his final, or Rengoku's final words, which to his brother was something along the lines of, please keep following your dreams, no matter what they were or what they are. And then his last words to his father was to please take care of yourself. So even though we saw how how Rengoku was treated by his father, he still cared deeply about his father.
Yes, and then Tanjiro's standing up to his father, what he was doing to him, and Rengoku's dad takes the training manual that he uses to train Rengoku, burns it, and didn't want to didn't want to train another kid to do that because what happened and stuff. And Tanjiro was a little pissed, but he had to, fuck it. Nope, I'm trying to get better, and here's something that's maybe from my past could help me, but fine, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So it's Hinokami Kagura is what his one breathing style is. So he does go after his father, Rengoku. Older Rengoku goes, walks away. His little Rengoku's little brother is like, hey, I'm gonna give you this, and he gives him the flame. What is it called? It's the flame thing. It goes on people's swords. The shield guard or something like that.
Whatever. I forget what's
called. But it was on Rengoku's sword, and he gives it to Tanjiro and was like, hey, I'm not going to follow in my brother's footsteps. I'm not going to become a demon slayer. So I want you to have it. And Tanjiro didn't want to take it at first. He goes, no, I'm not going to be a demon slayer. So I want you to take it. So Tanjiro does take it, and he carries it with him wherever. Now at this point, if you remember, Tanjiro threw his brand newly made sword
at one of the demons
at Akaza and lost it. So, his sword maker, comes back, and
he's always pissed when Tanjiro. Well, until you find out when you get to the third season in the Four Swords Village arc, you'll understand why. But even the townspeople think he's a crazy and he's an idiot.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he gives Tanjiro a new sword. Then later on, I don't know if it's at the same time, you meet Tengen.
And Tengen's like this tall.
Tengen is hot as fuck. I want to be his fourth wife, okay?
Yeah, Tengen's got 3 wives, by the way. Kind of like his informants. We
will talk about that here in a little bit. So, he is trying to kidnap. Well, I use kidnap lightly. He's trying to take some of the younger Demon Slayer girls because he's going to take them out on a mission. Which I'm glad that he didn't take the girls, that he took, the boys instead. But, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke try to step in to save them, and they're like, we'll do it, whatever it is. And he's like, okay. So he grabs them, and he takes them to Yoshiwara, because there is a demon that is somewhere in Yoshiwara, and they think that it was an upper 6 demon.
Yes.
But they didn't know where.
And here where it gets kind of funny. Um, so Tenjin and Nosuke and Zenitsu have to go to these three
Yeah, they get sold.
ish.
I'm putting sold in quotation marks. So they got sold to different houses or different establishments because that's actually what families would do to their daughters back in that time when they would sell them to different brothels to pay off debts and stuff like that. So, like, that's kind of what the dark part of the Entertainment District arc is, because that's when you actually learn the dark side of an entertainment of the red light district.
Yeah, and this is what they did. They pretty much Tenjin, Noisuke, and Zenitsu, they go undercover as trained geishas, kind of.
Not trained, because Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu are going into training, and Tengen was selling them.
And if you want to know what Tengen look like, just go to Google. But if you want to know how he's described, they kind of have like an emo. I wouldn't say emo vibe, just like
Okay, so let me put it this way. So, Satoru Gojo right now is probably the hottest man in the anime world.
I think you have a thing for.
All the girls and probably some guys simp. Oh, okay, most of the girls and some guys simp over Gojo. Okay, we all want to get into Gojo's pants. Before it was Gojo, it was Tengen. Tengen also has silver hair. The guy before, or white hair, the guy before him was Kakashi from Naruto, who also has white hair. So do you see a theme here?
Yeah, that everyone has like a freaking type.
Apparently we all love guys with white hair. Now, to be fair, I learned about Gojo before I learned about Tengen, okay? So, I had to make sure it was okay for me to get attached to Tengen before I got attached to him, because I got attached to Rengoku and look where that put me.
Yeah, and Tengen has like he's got like two swords. Okay, how am I going to specify this? It's
hot.
Okay. His swords look like almost like daggers, almost, but not really.
I mean, they're just dual blades.
Yeah, they're dual blades, but they're connected to chains like nunchucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wonder if maybe it has, I mean, I was gonna say that maybe it has some, okay, maybe not his swords, but definitely the tattoos on his face definitely have some symbolism of music, because he is the sound Hashira.
That, and I thought they looked more like fireworks.
To me, they kind of look like music notes, like connected music notes.
Either way. But like I said, yes.
I mean, which you could say... sorry for interrupting you. But you could probably even say that his swords being connected by a chain may also... might be something like music notes, too.
Well, either way, I know his special technique is like some kind of freaking...
It's like some sort of sound breathing.
Sound breathing, that, or I do know when he flinged his fling his swords around, it said something about with fireworks in it, so it's both ways.
Well, he also liked to say that he was fabulous and stuff like that. So he's also a shinobi, and I had to look up what the deal was with his 3 wives, because he does have 3 wives.
Yes.
And apparently it's just something that his clan did, with him being, like, I think the head of the clan, or he was part of the head clan, or the head of the clan, or whatever. And so 3 wives were chosen for him. So you have his first wife, then you have his second wife, and then you have his third wife, which I find very annoying because she cries all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, that her sister, the youngest one, or the newest one, we'll put it that way, the one that cries all the time. Her sister was supposed to be Tengen's wife, but she kind of like stepped in and volunteered as tribute to marry Tengen instead. So basically, she took her sister's place because she said that she would. So, anyways, the reason why he got the boys was because he hadn't heard from his wives in a while. And of course, Zenitsu now hates Tengen because he's like, how does he have 3 wives and I don't even have a girlfriend yet?
It's actually easy because the dude, like, he comes off strong. He's a simp, and he'll go to any girl and just say, "Be mine." I'm like, dude, if you were in modern day, you're considered as a stalker.
Yeah, but I really truly believe, like, even though he was like going up to all the girls and like saying "be mine" and everything, I truly believe that he does love Nezuko.
But here's the thing.
With the state, like, I can kind of understand him not really wanting to be faithful to Nezuko right now, because at this point Nezuko is still a demon, and she can't go out in the daylight, and she can't talk, and I could kind of understand.
Well, here's the thing. I think he likes her, but after he found out about her, he never really goes to hit on women. It was just always Nezuko. But it's still how he's like, Nezuko-chan! I'm like, dude, you're going to be if you were in modern day, you're a stalker.
And see, and like, Tanjiro doesn't really seem to mind.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, but that just might be like an older brother, like, Taisho era time, because this does take place during the Taisho era.
Well, yes, but anyways, in Nosuke doesn't have a thought in his head.
Yeah, he's
He's like one of those, like, I don't care.
yeah. So, anyways, Inosuke actually looks pretty good under his mask.
More like a kind of feminine if you look
Like,
at it.
if you put makeup on him, he looked good.
But here's the
as a woman.
But here's the thing: he had to be quiet.
Yeah, he couldn't talk because of his voice. Now, the English, I haven't watched this in Japanese, so I have no idea how his voice sounds in Japanese. But the English voice actor, Bryce Papenbrook, does so good with his voice. Like, oh my god. Like, he just makes it so deep and makes it just perfect. Which, if some of you don't know, Bryce Papenbrook does the voice for, if you have played Tales of Grace's F, he was the voice for Asbel. If you've played Tales of Grace's F, he is the voice for Law. Or not Tales of Arise, he plays Law. And he was also Kirito in Sword Art Online. And then he does some other voices that I don't know off the top of my head right now. Those are the 3 that I know.
And we got Tengen.
Tengen.
Tengen doing whatever he does. And Tanjiro is pretty much just helping around the house. Like, even the owners like him.
Yeah, they were disappointed because he does have that scar on his forehead, and they made him take off his makeup, but like he still had like blush on his cheeks. But like the white makeup like the geisha would wear was off, and then they saw his scar and they're like, "Oh, we can't have this." But he was helping around, and then Zenitsu was just depressed because no one wanted him.
Well, that and not wanting him, but yeah, mostly that. But he was also getting, I wouldn't say depressed, he was just getting pissed off because how Tengen made fun of him, plus saying how the hell you got 3 wives? I know.
Yeah. Okay, so we meet the highest ranking concubine. There's the name that they use in the anime, and I don't remember. I can't really remember what it is off the top of my head right now. But so we'll just use concubine because that's basically what they were. The highest ranking concubine in Yoshiwara, which I think Mike is in the process of pulling up her name. We learn about her, and then I think we learn about the second highest. I think she was the second highest, and her name is Daki. And we find out that Daki is a demon. And she had actually gotten a hold of Tengen's 3 wives. What?
I was going to look it up, but I don't know.
Yeah. Now, Inosuke does... Okay, so there's only 11 episodes of the season. So it does go by fairly quick. Inosuke does end up tracking down one of them. One of his wives. And then he finds Daki's obi sash is, like, going around and, like, collecting the women and stuff like that. Because they said that women were coming up missing, and they just thought they were running away or whatever. But really, they weren't running away. They were just being taken by Daki to pretty much be eaten.
And the wives' name are Suma, Makiko, and starts with an H. And
Suma, Makio, and Hinatsuru. I do believe, I think it's Suma, I think is the one that's crying all the time. Makio, I think, is the girl with the blonde and black hair. And then I think Hinatsuru is the girl that wears her hair just with the black hair. So those are Tengen's 3 wives. He finds, I do believe that's
actually correction. Suma is the blonde and black hair girl.
Okay, so Makio is that the crying one? He is. Mike's looking it up right now.
No, I don't think that's her.
Okay, so then it would be Hinatsuru would be the one with the one that cried. No, I think Makio is like the quiet first wife of Tengen, and then I think Hinatsuru is.
This is Hinatsuru.
Okay, that's Hinatsu. Okay, so Makio was the one that cries all the time.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so but Inosuke finds Suma first, because I think that was the last one that Tengen lost contact with, was Suma. And of course Tengen, he does love all of his wives equally. But they do anyways, they find out that we're just gonna, because a lot of it is just them kind of like doing detective work and trying to figure it out.
Yes.
And they find out that Daki is the demon. Muzan Jackson does end up coming to Daki to tell her about Tanjiro. Because I think he does mention the boy with the earrings and what they look like and everything like that. So she does see Tanjiro, but Tanjiro, I think, is dressed up as a girl at that point. So she was like, what's going on here? Yeah. Zenitsu has a run-in with Daki.
Yep. And before we get that, I fucked up. You're right. Suma is the crying one.
Okay, so Suma's the crying one.
Okay, I fucked up.
Hinatsuru is his first wife, the one with the black hair, and then Makio is the black and blonde haired girl.
No, actually, Makio is the blonde and black hair girl.
Oh, isn't that? I just said that.
Okay, I fucked up. Okay, here we go.
Okay,
right?
listen to me. Do not listen to Mike. Listen to me. Makio is the black and blonde haired chick. Okay. Suma is the one that's always crying and is extremely annoying. And Hinatsuru is the one with the long black hair, pure black hair, okay?
Okay, now we get down to Daki, right?
Yes, now we're talking about Daki, who she wants to be like, once we learn her backstory, the way that she operates actually explains a lot of how she is as a demon.
She was pretty much a nutcase.
She really was. So she
That's like a diva vibe if you look at it.
she does. She also smacked. No, she. One of the younger girls that was supposed to be in her care or in the care of the brothel that she worked in, did something. I can't remember what it was. But Daki comes in and she grabs her ear so hard that she's making it bleed. Zenitsu steps in to help her. And Zenitsu gets beat they beat the shit out of Zenitsu. She does, because he steps in to help these little girls, and then they come in to talk to him later, and then they leave, and then Daki grabs him with her obi sash, which is kind of like a living part of her.
Yes, and it's like a pain in the ass to take down.
Yeah,
especially if it's fabric.
Yeah, so then, while that's all going on, Tanjiro actually tracks down Daki, along with Tengen, and they start to fight Daki. This fight lasts for a good few episodes, because this is like the climax of this season. So, Tengen and Tanjiro start fighting Daki.
Didn't like Nezuko start joining the fight too?
Nezuko joined in, I think it was a little bit later.
Didn't it also explain that Tengen was also using rats too?
Yeah, Tengen was using rats. They were called like muscle mice or something like that. Yeah, he had mice. That must be a shinobi thing, to be honest. So anyways, Nezuko, the fight is a little hazy for me. It has been it's been a bit since I've seen season 2, so I am going completely off by memory.
Yeah, and same here, but there's a part during the fighting, Tanjiro keeps trying to use his water technique, but he kept saying every time he used the water technique, it felt like it was hurting him. It wasn't doing it, so he had to switch to fire.
Yeah, which is when he started using his Hinokami Kagura technique. And I mean, it seemed fairly effective to Daki too at some points. At one point, Nezuko does join in on the fight, and she grew up, she got these vines all over her body, a horn grown out of her head, and she was pretty strong for a demon.
Yeah, she went through Super Saiyan and like beat the crap out of Daki, but Tanjiro had to stop her because something in her, because since her new power was infesting, meaning she didn't have the time to train and realize the hypnosis that Tenjin's master put on her. So he had to use like his sword or something and he had to think of how to calm her down, and he had to use a lullaby.
Yeah, a lullaby that their mother used to sing.
And it worked. And like during the struggle he was having, Tengen's like, get her to calm down. I'm like, alright, dickhead. Yeah. And he's like, then after she starts to cry, and I'm like, he's like crying on the battlefield. I'm like, dude, we get it. You're a freaking ninja. Relax.
Yeah. So, at one point, Tengen does go down.
Loses a hand.
Loses a hand, and he does lose an eye too.
And here's what and this is when shit hits the fan. This is when Daki's brother.
Yeah, it's. Let me look at it. Gyutaro. Well, we're just gonna call him Daki's brother because I don't even think I'm pronouncing that right.
And turns out he's member of the 12 Demon Moons. So
yeah, one of the 12 Kizuki.
So he is an upper moon 6.
Oh, then what is Daki? Is she number 5 or is she also 6? Because they were kind of like together. Like he was living inside of Daki. So, because whereas Daki was very beautiful, he was ugly.
Oh, she's upper 6 too.
Okay, so they're both number 6. Okay. So, whereas he's ugly, she is very beautiful, which this does, like I said, their backstory will play a role in the way that they are now.
Yes, and like I said, they're fighting, Zenitsu's doing his best, and, only way that Zenitsu actually fights is when he's passed out.
Yeah, that's the only time that he actually, but he only uses thunder breathing number 1, the first form of thunder breathing while he's asleep, because I think he has said that that's the only one that he used was form number 1. He never learned the others. How he managed to become a demon slayer with just that one form, I don't know, but he did.
And, and Noisuke's doing what he's doing, trying to cut the fabric, but he's like, can't do it because it's too hard. And Tengen's wives are helping.
Mm-hmm.
They're like bringing stuff, using weapons and everything pretty much to take these two down. Then,
at one point we do think that Tengen is dead.
Yep,
and I was a little upset because my friend told me that I could get attached to him, and I'm like, why tell me to get attached to him if he's gonna die?
And this is and here's the thing, they're fighting Daki's brother, his weapon is sickles.
Yeah, scythe sickle, yeah.
And the one thing about it is they're full of poison.
Yeah.
And Tengen gets poisoned. Tengen gets poisoned.
I think pretty much everybody has gotten poisoned at that point by his sickles.
Yeah, and Tanjiro goes after him, and he cuts both of their heads off, and this is when the backstory begins.
Well, even before that, Tanjiro's one of his fingers was broken. He was poisoned.
Yep.
He was trying to take care of Nezuko because Nezuko was tiny. There was a lot of shit that was going on.
Yeah, and also they replaced Nezuko's bamboo muzzle with a rope.
Yeah. So finally they get to the point where they had to cut off both of their heads simultaneously.
And this is then we get to their backstory. Turns out they were both, born in...
They were born, I think, on the outskirts of Yoshiwara, where it was, a really poor district.
And it's pretty much criminals, everything.
Criminals, daughters get sold off into prostitution a lot.
And...
that type of thing.
And Daki's brother, he's always ugly.
Yeah.
Because they think he's like a plague ill because the splotches on his faces.
Yeah, because he was born first, and his parents didn't really care about him. Probably because he was ugly, so they wouldn't have been able to get anything out of him.
And he said his first actual toy was an abandoned sickle sai.
Yeah. So, and then Daki was born, and Daki ended up being very, very beautiful. And then the first time that he killed somebody was when Daki was 13, and a man tried to get with Daki. And Daki didn't want that. and so he killed the man. I think it was a samurai, and that was punishable by death. And I think they went ahead and I think they killed both of them. But Muzan Jackson stepped in and saved them before they actually died.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
And before anyone says anything, Moonzon's last name is not Jackson, but we make the joke because he wears a white suit pretty much like Michael Jackson's music video Smooth Criminal.
Everybody actually calls him Muzan. Well, everybody that I have seen has called him Muzan.
Yeah, and it's become a meme.
Yeah.
And like some, what was it, one say, someone let Muzan Jackson out.
Yeah. So, so Muzan does come along and does save them. But, like, their backstory was just really, really sad.
It really was, and before they were ready to disappear forever, for good, they were yelling at each other, arguing, and then Tengen was like, hey, shut the fuck up. Remember what happened, and because right now you guys are going to be dead. You think the last moments is you guys arguing with each other?
Yeah, so then they kind of, like, made up, and then it showed, like, their human selves, like, meeting up, like, to go into, like, the afterlife together or something like that. And I'm like, that's kind of sad.
It was.
Yeah, so then,
And everyone, then it comes down to Tengen was ready to die because of the poison, and so was Tanjiro. Then Nezuko has this flame, and people thought, like, his wife thought that she was roasting him. Turns out she was healing him from the poison.
Yeah. So, and that gave Shinobu's team enough time to get there to actually administer first aid to save them all.
Yeah.
So, during the fight that they were having with Daki, the whole place, like, burned down. It was basically destroyed. Now, I was trying to find an actual date when this would have, like, a time period that, because the Taisho era takes place between 1912 and 1926. So, in 1913, the Yoshiwara had actually burned down. So, I was actually kind of hoping that a cool Easter egg would have been for the Entertainment District arc to have taken place around 1913. That way, with the burning of Yoshiwara in the anime would have coincided with what happened to the actual Yoshiwara. But I couldn't find any specific date on when season 2 would have been. The Entertainment District arc would have been. I couldn't find any specific time, year, or anything like that. Because I thought that would have been a cool Easter egg to have had that.
Yeah, and
but some people were saying that Mugen Train was had taken place around 1919. So this definitely would have taken place after the burning of Yoshiwara in 1913.
Yeah. And I also forgot to mention, they tried to mention a little bit of Tanjiro's scar. Mm-hmm. And like when you look at it, like from the first season, it looked like a regular scar. Nothing happened. But when we went to go see the Hashira training arc,
we don't want to bring that up yet. We should probably wait until we talk about season 4.
I'm not talking about that, right? I'm talking about when they were showing the what's it called, the clips from the lab, like a recap.
Yeah.
Well, if you've when Tanjiro is fighting the two and using his flame breathing technique, you see his scar was growing and changing shape. Well, in the second season, they were talking about it, but he said he got from burning on a hot teapot.
Yeah, we'll actually probably talk more about his scar when we talk about season 4.
Whenever the Hashira training arc comes.
That's actually supposed to be coming out, I think, at the beginning of April or the end of this month.
Yeah, and
it's coming soon, folks.
And I think there's also a reason why his sword is always black, which I keep mentioning, and I think it's because of a sun breathing technique.
Well, I mean, I'm in the process of reading the manga, so there's a good possibility that I might end up finishing reading the manga before I even get to see season 4.
Right.
I'm still on chapter 2 though. So I think that maybe the reason why it's turning black is because he knows water breathing, but maybe he's more suited for sun breathing.
That too, or maybe he's just going to try different techniques.
Because Rengoku, a piece of hair in my mouth, Rengoku does mention that it might be sun breathing that Tanjiro knows.
Yeah, and anyways, after they're all saved, healed up, going to the infirmary, I think Tengen said he wanted to retire.
Yeah, Tengen was retiring because, I mean, he's missing an arm and an eye.
And he wanted to be with his wives.
Yeah.
They're having a little picnic. And, Tanjiro's healing up. Gets a letter from Rengoku's dad telling him I'm sorry and everything. But hopefully maybe you can go on your journey, find out more about this technique that you did.
Yeah, because I think what it was that Rengoku's dad went through the books that Rengoku was going to let him look at, and I think he ripped out all the pages. So I think that Rengoku's dad knows something about sun breathing, but he is unwilling to share it at this point. But we'll just see. So that's the end of season 2, the Entertainment District arc.
Yes.
I actually really enjoyed it. I really liked Tengen.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely a 10 out of 10. So we will actually be talking about season 3 here in a few weeks.
And also throughout the whole March, we're going to be doing mostly anime.
Yes, we are. Yes, actually, yeah. All of March, will be anime. And we do have some. We were going to talk about the Demon Slayer movie, but it didn't really turn out to be a movie. Anything really that we could really talk about.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk something else about it.
Yeah, so we'll probably just wait because that ended up just being the last episode of season 3 and then the first episode of season 4. So really nothing really to talk about. And I don't really want to spoil the first episode for y'all. So we'll just wait until all of season 4 had come out before we talk about that.
Yes.
So next week's hint is going to be Malevolent Shrine. And I'm sure that you all could probably guess what we are going to be talking about. And I am excited to talk about this because, oh my fucking god, was it crazy.
Get ready.
So get ready for some total, craziness. So, that is it. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you like Demon Slayer. Did you go see the movie? Are you gonna wait? What did you think of the Entertainment District arc? That type of thing.
And type in if Tanjiro Swordmaker's a nutcase.
Yeah. Remember, we are trying to get up to 100 subscribers. Once we get up to 100 subscribers, we will show our face and we will cosplay.
We're at 21.
We're at 21 right now, so we just need I can't do math right now.
79.
There we go. We just need 79 more people. So, share this with your friends if you think that they might like what we're doing. So we will talk to you all later. Bye.
Hey.